Hey, what's up, Disney Reviews? Me, the Guy01, and welcome to this week's Versus episode on the Walkthrough channel. This week, it's Stone Cold Steve Austin against The Rock. Happy 316 Day, everybody! Our favorite national holiday. Yeah, Steve Austin Day. Today is March 16th, and that is, of course, why we will be doing this Versus with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Also, in addition to that, we didn't really have that many birthdays this past week. We had Mae Young's birthday on March 12th, who would have turned 101. So, now there was some other news this past week in wrestling. The WWE announced the next 3 inductees into this year's Hall of Fame, including the U.S. Express, which, you know, great for the Wyndham Rotunda family. Which, speaking of the Wyndham Rotundas, there's a lot of speculation on whether or not Bray Wyatt will be inducted this year. There's a lot of fans kind of expecting him to go in this year, but then there's other people who are like, let's give it a bit. I mean, you know, I think the one argument that kind of came up was if he hadn't passed away, he wouldn't be in yet. And I think that's kind of what they're going off of. I don't see him going in this year. I mean, he totally could. They might do like what they did with, who was it? There was one thing where it's like, someone passed away and then they immediately went in afterwards. Not Warrior, because he passed away a week after he got inducted. Or I guess only a few days, really. But there was someone who was like, they passed away and then that year they inducted them. I can't remember who it is off the top of my head. So, we'll see. Moving on from that, they also announced that Muhammad Ali will be inducted as part of the Celebrity Wing. And I said this before when Andy Kaufman got inducted into the Hall of Fame, what was it, just last year? That this is kind of what the Celebrity Wing should be for, like celebrities who have like a legitimate tie to professional wrestling, which Muhammad Ali definitely does, as, you know, not only was he the special guest referee for the first ever WrestleMania, but he also had a wrestling/boxing match with, I'm going to butcher the name, the Great Antonio, I'll just say that, Great Antonio, who passed away recently also, in what was basically a prototype of an MMA match. They basically combined the styles of pro wrestling, like that shoot wrestling style, with, you know, Muhammad Ali's boxing. So, Muhammad Ali technically had a pro wrestling match. It was just a shoot pro wrestling match, which would then go on to be known as MMA. And then there was the most recent inductee, which is someone who I actually didn't know, Thunderbolt Patterson. From what I understand about them, they were an older wrestler, not from the past few decades, so later, or I guess earlier than that. But they were also, like, I guess, an advocate for the safety of professional wrestlers and putting new stuff, or promoters taking responsibility on ensuring the safety of wrestlers. That's just from my brief understanding of what he's done, but you know, as more people get announced for the Hall of Fame, the more people are like, you can tell this is a Triple H Hall of Fame just from who's already been inducted. Like, this is an old school Hall of Fame class. A lot of overdue people, and a lot of, you know, more pioneer people who are in for their role as pioneers more than anything. Alright, let's move on to Raw. Raw began with Becky Lynch beating Liv Morgan in a match. I believe the stipulation was if Liv beats Liv, she gets her spot at WrestleMania against Rhea Ripley. So Lynch beat Liv, kept her spot. Afterwards, Rhea Ripley came down to confront Becky Lynch. She also crossed paths with Liv Morgan, who had a few words for her. once again, they're so seemingly building this idea of, you know, there's these two interconnecting stories with Rhea. You know, her past with Liv being the one who took her out of action, and then, you know, Lynch, who's coming in, and it's more of a professional rivalry kind of thing. Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae beat Maxine Dupree and Ivy Nile. The biggest thing that came from this match was WWE is seemingly trying to turn Candice LeRae heel, like real nasty heel, and they took a page out of the Paige Charlotte Flair book with Candice LeRae actually referencing Maxine Dupree's brother who passed away not too recently during the match, which already has fans split. People are like, really? Remember the last time you guys did this with Paige and Charlotte? People hated it, and now here you are doing it again. It's like, there were some people who were like upset with Candice specifically, who were like, that's way too far, you don't bring that kind of thing up. You know, people who were upset with the company, it's like, how dare you exploit someone's personal tragedy like this? But I think the one thing that, you know, we need to remember is, there's no way they did this without, you know, asking Maxine first. They had to run this by her well before it ever had a chance of being done on live TV. Not only did they have to run the idea by her, they probably had to get explicit permission from her to do this. So, you know, it wouldn't have happened unless Dupree, you know, signed off on it. It was okay with it happening. Now, it's still a very touchy subject because, you know, this is real life. This is a real death that they're, you know, basically using for heat, which, you know, is common in wrestling, more common than, you know, we like to think it is, or maybe more common than it should be. I mean, not too long ago, we had CM Punk mocking the death of Paul Bearer in his feud with Undertaker. So this kind of thing has happened before. Asuka and Kairi Sane beat Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark to retain the women's tag team titles. Damian Priest beat R-Truth. Afterwards, Judgment Day continued to beat down R-Truth and DIY, who came down to make the save. And in the main event was a gauntlet match to determine Gunther's WrestleMania opponent. The participants were Chad Gable, Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, Bronson Reed, Ricochet, and JD McDonough. And the final two came down to Sami Zayn and Chad Gable, who are probably the two fan favorites going into this match. And Zayn ended up beating Chad Gable in order to get the shot at Gunther at WrestleMania. Now, immediately after this match, it was like, oh, come on, just give Gunther his opportunity. You're not gonna lie, I'm not gonna lie, like I've probably said this past few weeks, I was really pulling for Chad Gable to be the one to challenge Gunther. Don't get me wrong, Zayn versus Gunther is gonna be a great match, or has the potential to be a great match, and is almost guaranteed to be a great match. With that said though, you know, not only was I really pulling for Chad Gable, but it seems like WWE was even like hinting that was the direction they were going to go, with Michael Cole making reference during the match that out of everyone in this match, Chad Gable is the only one to not hold a singles title in either NXT or the main roster. And that felt like a weird, you know, tad bit to kind of call out during this match. It almost felt like they were trying to build either like sympathy for Chad Gable or draw the audience's attention to focus on Gable and, you know, his efforts to finally win a singles title. So, and then, you know, he gets down to the final two, but then to have him just lose to Zayn. So it just kind of felt kind of weird that, you know, they put this focus on the fact that Gable has never won a singles title, and then they're just like, well, guess we're gonna have to keep waiting because it's not happening this time. And of course now there's the question of, do you just make it a triple threat? Do you do Gunther versus Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable? I feel like it's kind of weird now, because now I feel like you'd almost be having to force Chad Gable into the match. instead of just letting it be Zayn versus Gunther. I don't know, it's a weird thing. I don't know. I'm glad Zayn, I can totally see them doing, like, Zayn beats Gunther at WrestleMania to end his record-breaking title reign, and then Chad Gable and Zayn feud into SummerSlam over the title, and have Gable take it off Zayn then. But I don't know. I think it'd be too quick of a title reign if they go that direction. Whoever beats Gunther to break his, to end his title reign, they should hold that title for several months, way more than, like the 3-4 months in between WrestleMania and SummerSlam. They should hold it at least till next year's Royal Rumble, I feel. But I don't know, that's just me. Alright, moving on to SmackDown. SmackDown actually began with a promo from The Rock, where he basically just kind of went over kind of all the stuff he's been saying the past couple weeks, both on TV and in social media videos, where he's really laid into Cody Rhodes. And it's been really entertaining. But the promo did go pretty long, and actually might have gone too long, because both matches that came immediately afterwards actually seemed to get cut short. With the LWO Legado del Fantasma. No. We'll get there. Basically, several of the matches either felt like they got cut short, they went into commercial either right away, or it's like there was one match where literally the entrances got cut. And like the beginning of the match got cut. Like, you come back from commercial break and the match is already like 3 minutes in, and you didn't even see the entrances. And it's like, okay, what happened there? We missed like 5 minutes of stuff. Anyway, moving on. Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo beat Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde to qualify for the WrestleMania Tag Team match, which this past week on Raw was announced to be a 6-team ladder match, which just sounds like a total train wreck waiting to happen, and I can't wait. Remember the WrestleMania a few years ago when the Hardy Boys returned? That ladder match for the tag titles? That was like, what, 4 teams? Now I've got 6 teams. Someone's gonna get hurt. Yeah, someone's gonna get hurt in that. But that should be a fun match to see. Ow. Oh, no, you don't. Gotcha. Reverse the rock bottom, hit him with the stunner. No. Sneaky. Very crafty Rock. Randy Orton beat Grayson Waller. Afterwards, he was attacked by Austin Theory and Logan Paul. Before Kevin Owens ran down to make the save for Orton. Afterwards, it was confirmed that at WrestleMania it will be Logan Paul versus Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton for the US title in a triple threat match. See, that's what I'm already saying with, like, the Intercontinental title. Why not just do the triple threat with that one? Now, this might be a controversial take, but I didn't really see either Orton or Owens being the ones to challenge Logan Paul at WrestleMania. Maybe that was just me. I kind of saw either... I also saw either someone like LA Knight doing it, or... I don't know. I just didn't see one of them doing it. Maybe Orton, maybe. I don't know. Speaking of LA Knight, LA Knight challenged AJ Styles for a match at WrestleMania. AJ responded by attacking LA Knight with a steel chair before accepting the match. So that's what LA Knight will be doing at WrestleMania. He'll be facing AJ Styles, which will be a good match, and a very good high-profile match with, you know, an established legend like AJ Styles. Hopefully that should be a good win for LA Knight to really elevate him into that title contendership status. Santos Escobar beat Dragon Lee. Afterwards, Carlito and Rey Mysterio ran down to make the save for Dragon Lee. Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate beat Pretty Deadly. And in the main event, Bayley faced Dakota Kai. The match ended with a DQ, with Dakota Kai being DQ'd. Afterwards, Damage Control continued to beat down on Bayley. Naomi ran down in order to try to make the save, but she was also taken out by Damage Control. And that's it for Raw and SmackDown. So what are your guys' thoughts on the confirmed matches so far? So far, what? We've got 5, 6 confirmed matches. I think all the titles have already been confirmed. We just don't know all the participants for the Undisputed Tag titles yet. But all the other title matches have been confirmed. So far we've got... Almost dropped the controller. We've got Cody versus Reigns for the Undisputed title. Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins for the World title. Orton, Logan Paul, and Kevin Owens for the United States title. Sami Zayn versus Gunther for the Intercontinental title. Do we have a person to face the Kabuki Warriors for the women's tag titles? I actually forget. I don't remember if we have someone for that yet. And of course, you know, Bayley versus Io Sky, Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch, and now we're just waiting to figure out who will all be involved in that 6-team ladder match for the Undisputed Tag titles. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and make me visit all the time. Stay tuned for next week's Versus, and next week when we continue our LEGO Batman 3 walkthrough. Hope you guys enjoyed. Happy 3/16 day. Enjoy a cold one if you're legal. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Guy01, and you see it right there, the greatest of all time, Stone Cold Steve Austin, signing out. Bye guys.